Is it possible to vibe code our way to an Instagram clone? Well, that's what we're going to figure out today. Using Cursor AI, I'm going to completely try and create an Instagram clone using Cursor and just Cursor AI prompts alone. Now, I could go ahead and do the actual development myself, but today I want to see as just a challenge if we can actually do this. So with that being said, let's try and recreate Instagram and jump right into it. All right, so we're in Cursor now, and we're going to see if we can vibe code our way to an Instagram clone. So navigating to the right-hand side here where it says new chat here, I've got the agent mode set up and it's on auto. And I'm going to say build an Instagram clone and create React app. And I'm just going to say that. And I'll hit enter here. All right, so once I actually submit that, it says, I'll help you build an Instagram clone using Create React App. Let's start by setting up the project and creating the basic structure. First, I'll create the new React application. Now, React personally is just my favorite development framework, but it might do it in Python or whichever one you pick. This is just so that I can actually understand what's happening if we do run into bugs. And vibe coding is, of course, where you have minimal development experience, but actually go and start creating apps and websites. But problems will still come up. And if a few of those problems do come up today, hopefully you can learn a thing or two from me just reviewing them, walking through some simple debugging processes. But for now, let's just go ahead and hit this run button. And there we can see we're now creating our Instagram clone app here. And we're going to do it using TypeScript. So as we can see, we've got our Instagram clone on the left-hand side here, and it says, okay, Instagram clone. And so now what I'm going to go ahead and do is actually open a terminal here. So I'm going to go to the top where it says terminal, and I'll say new terminal. And so now, as we can see here, we're just in our folder called Instagram clone. And if I type in ls here, we can see that the actual folder inside of it called Instagram clone is this. So there's a folder called Instagram clone, and then inside of it, there's another folder called Instagram clone. Don't worry if you're not keeping up, things will get pretty simple pretty quick. So as we can see here, it's going ahead and adding all of the packages, installing React and all of the different accessories with that. And as we can see here, it says, we suggest you begin by typing cd Instagram clone and npm start. And it's actually giving me some commands to run here. So I'm going to say, okay, go ahead and run. And so what we're going to actually do is change directories into our Instagram clone here. And we're going to install things like the MUI, Material Emotion, React Emotion, Styled, Firebase, React Router DOM, all of these things in here into our Instagram clone app. And as we can see, we've got our node modules, our public, our source folder, our gitignore, and everything here. And now it says, I want to create the basic file structure for Instagram clone. Let's start by setting up the main components and routing structure. So I'm going to hit run here, and it's going to go ahead and it's going to actually go and make those directories. So as we can see here, we've now got our package.json, and it is beginning to write all of the code. Awesome. Now there is a bug here that I do see happen sometimes when you're actually vibe coding, and it's one of the greatest first debugging lessons I can teach you. As we can see here, we have two folders on the left-hand side. We have Instagram clone and we have source or SRC. Now, if we open the Instagram clone folder, we can see here that there's already a SRC folder, and this is different from the one we have here. This SRC folder has all of the basic components. It has all of the defaults and things like that. But when we actually see that what we're actually writing here is being put into a separate source folder. So obviously we need to go and change that over. So I'm just going to go ahead and wait until it actually finishes writing all of the components here, such as the profile page, the register page, all of that, and say npm install save dev react types, React Router DOM, etc. And we're just going to go ahead and hit run here. And as we can see, we're just doing it within that Instagram clone folder. So as we can see here, there's a couple things missing, but all of that is mostly going into the Instagram clone folder, except for this source file here, which is a bit of an issue. So now it says npm start. So if I hit the open terminal button and I said npm start, as we can see here, we now have a debugging error, and it's saying it can't find package.json because the source file, as we can see here, is outside of the main Instagram clone. Now, this is where a lot of people might get discouraged. They might say, well, this is too much for me. I don't understand how errors work. This doesn't work. I highly recommend that you don't take on this mindset, because if you want to have the benefits of vibe coding where you let an AI do most of the work for you, you also have to think like a developer in the event that things go wrong. I mean, if we invented AI that could completely build full-scale applications without having to be, debugged at all, if there were zero bugs, that would be game-changing. But obviously, we still need software engineers, so this something isn't exactly going to be reality for a little while. So what I can do here is either take this and copy it directly into here, or if I know what the actual result is that I can fix it with, I can just do that. So in my case, I'm just going to open up this source folder and open up this source folder. And as we can see here, we have a couple overlapping things. We have app.tsx and we have an app.tsx in here. So I'm going to go ahead, delete this app.tsx. I'll delete this components folder and I'll delete this pages folder. And so then I'll go into this other source folder here, select all of my components here in folders, and just drag them in. And so it says, are you sure you want to move the following 3 files? I'll say move, and it'll automatically move them. At this point too, it might potentially ask you if you want to update your imports. I always say always, because you always want to have your imports updated if you're moving things around in folders. This is an easy place where bugs can occur. But as we can see here now, we have our source folder, and now we have this extra source folder, which we can just go ahead and delete here. And it says you're deleting a folder with unsaved changes in one file. Well, what folders are there? Well, nothing that I can see here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit delete. And now we can try it again by hitting npm start. So going back to the terminal here and typing npm start, we can see here that, again, we're getting the same error. So at this point here, we can see that I've dragged things in correctly, but we've actually got the opportunity to add this to chat. And so then we can just go ahead and submit that. And now it says that, hey, there's an error. And I've noticed that we're actually in the wrong folder. So we're going to hit that button there to open the terminal, and now we're in the right folder, and now we're actually opening the development environment. So as we can see here, it's just loading, and now hopefully we're going to see exactly what this looks like with the base Instagram clone that it just coded for us. And we've got errors. So don't worry, at this stage, we can just navigate back to Cursor here, and we can see that there are some errors. So we're going to go ahead and just highlight all of this, and I'm just going to copy and paste those into the terminal and hit enter here. And it says that there are 2 main issues we need to fix. Now, look at what it's actually doing here. As we can see here, it's going and it's actually searching through the actual pages that these errors are occurring in, and it's saying that, oh, this failed to save because the content of the file is newer. And I'm just going to say here, overwrite. I want everything to be overwritten, especially if it's overwriting code that previously didn't work. So I'm going to hit overwrite here. And then at the bottom here, I'm just going to hit this button that says accept all, which basically means that, hey, I want to accept all the new changes that the AI has done. So navigating back to the page here and refreshing, we can see that we still have the same issue. But behind, we can see that something is starting to come together. But let's navigate back here and say once again that we are trying to fix this. So we'll go ahead and we'll say once again, npm start, or we navigate to the actual npm start here at the top that was run. So we could say npm start or hit npm start here in our terminal. Now at this point, I could just simply say debug the application. And because we have a fairly standard application at this point, it's going to go ahead and look through everything that could potentially be wrong and causing issues here. And it's going to go and look through it. And this is where the agent really comes in handy, because instead of me telling it specifically what sort of pages are having the issues, in this case we can see it's just the profile page that is having these issues, we can see here that it went through and looked through everything and found that, yep, there are a couple issues, and more importantly, the profile component is having grid issues, which is causing all of these errors here. So as we can see, there are still issues happening. So we can just go through here and let the AI debug itself. And if letting the AI debug itself doesn't work, you could always Google it. You could always keep trying at it. But the goal here is not to get discouraged. Now it says it wants to install the updated dependencies, so I'm going to run that and just follow all of the things that it wants me to do here. As we can see here, we have a couple of the errors popping up over and over again, but that's okay. It's still writing those peer dependencies over and over again, and it's going ahead and debugging it. Now at this point, this is where a little bit of hands-on labor might be required here. As we can see from these error messages, these issues all stem from the profile page. So as we can see here, it's compiling once again. Now let's see if the issues were actually fixed by just the AI agent alone. And if it does, we can see here, whoa, way too many errors. Did not work, and at the end of the day here, it's still saying that there's an error in the profile page. So now let's do a little bit of hands-on manual intervention. Let's go to the profile page here, and as we can see, this is the issue. There are specific pieces of code that we didn't actually accept earlier, and that caused the issue. So let's go through here and say accept. And let's just say I want to accept all of these pieces of code. And I'll hit save here, and we'll navigate back to our clone here, and we can just say, you know, we're just going to stop this. And we're just going to say open terminal. And now we have those errors fixed, but we have another error. So what comes next? Now it's going to check if there's any remaining issues with the profile component. And it found that there are issues with the profile component. So let's go ahead and just do that here. It's looking at the login component, it's looking at the register component, and it's seeing that the only issues were stemming from the profile component, which is accurate. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and hit accept all here, which accepts all of those changes. And then I'm going to do cd Instagram clone and start. And what we're going to do here is we're going to close this. And it says, do you want to terminate the running processes? I'm going to say terminate. And we're just going to start from scratch here, making sure we're in the right folder. So I just have a terminal here at the bottom, and I'm going to say ls, and I want to change my directory. So I'm going to say change directory Instagram-clone. And I can verify that I'm in that correct directory by just typing in ls, and there we go. We can see that I've got all of my data in here. And now I'm going to say npm.start again. And it's going to go ahead and run it. And just like that, we have our Instagram. So very, very basic here, but we have the basic version of Instagram. We have the Instagram logo, we have homepage, we have explore, we have add photo, profile, etc. We have the username, a post, and what will be the actual image. We have the like button here, we have comment, we have share, and we have, different 8 comments. But this isn't the full version of Instagram. And if we navigate to the sign up page, we can see here that we have email address, full name, username, password, and sign up. And if I hit have an account, I can successfully navigate between pages. But what happens when we navigate from the top tabs? Well, if we hit home, we can see that we've got the user's post. If we hit the post button, nothing happens. If we hit the explore button, nothing happens. Likes, nothing happens. Profile, nothing happens. So obviously, we need to take this a step further. Let's navigate back to cursor, and let's now say we need to continue to build out the missing features. Now for this, I'm just going to be using a fake database because we're not going to be connecting this directly to a real database if we were going to be actually posting photos and retrieving it from the backend. We're just going to be using some fake data for now, just as placeholder to kind of give you an idea of what it might look like. But in my case here, I'm just going to say we need to continue building out the missing features using a fake database, and it should function exactly like Instagram. And we're going to hit enter on that one. And now it's going to go ahead and import all of that information here. So it's going ahead and actually creating an example of that fake database with things like follower counts, like counts, comments, your profile information, when your account was created, what's your username, etc. And if I go ahead and I hit this button in the top right hand corner here, we can actually collapse that if we don't want to see it, or in this case, make it bigger if we do. And we can see here it's writing data context.tsx. And it's giving us some little helpful hints at each stage of it actually doing it. So if I just stop it here for a minute, we can see that some of the things are, get user by ID, follow user, unfollow user, get user by username, get posts by user ID, get feed posts, etc. And now it's going ahead and it's updating all of the files to match that new information here. Now, there might be a couple errors at the bottom, but of course that's just going to be because it's actually writing it all out. So I'm going to go ahead and hit accept all. And now if we navigate back to our web page here, we can see that the user interface looks a little bit different. It says Instagram, but it has, email address, sign up. But now if we actually navigate back to the home screen here, we can see that I can't do it until I actually log in. So let's log in. We'll say test@email.com. We can just say Josh, username, Josh Diggett, and we'll make the password something super secure. And because this isn't a real site that you won't have access to, it's 123456. I'm sorry, it's a very simple password. But then we go ahead and hit sign up. But then nothing actually happens here. Or maybe it does. So let's go ahead and hit login here. Say, put in my very, very simple password here. And as we can see, the login function isn't working. But this is actually good because I told it explicitly that I don't want it to let us in unless we're registered. So we're just going to go back and navigate to cursor again, and we're going to say, let us explore the app without being signed in. Make it so we can post, etc. Create fake data for now. And we can just go and enter this in. And it says that it's going to go ahead and actually modify the app to work without requiring authentication. So now I've said, let us just explore the app without being signed in, make it so we can post, etc., fake data for now. And it says, I'll help you modify the app to work without requiring authentication And I'm going to add some fake data as well. So it's going to go ahead and add our data context here. And now this is specifically fake data for our fake backend. Now it's going to go ahead and actually remove those authentication requirements here so that we can just get access to everything for the purposes of this demo. Obviously in your app, you wouldn't want people to actually be able to access it if, they weren't signed in or signed up for an account. We're going to, once again, accept all the changes here. And now if we navigate back to the page, we can see here that I can actually go ahead and look at all the pages, but there aren't any pages here. So that's what we need to have happen. So I'm going to say build in the user interface to post photos and add a filter to them. Multiple options. Build in the user interface, and now it's going to tell me that it wants to allow me to create a photo upload interface with filters, and it's going to find something that is relevant for me. So in this case, React image filter. So I'll say run here, and now it's going to go ahead and put in React image filter here so we can actually add filters to Instagram. And now it's going to go and create that new component for the photo upload and filter interface. And this is vibe coding at its best. I'm just going ahead and step by step building out each feature of Instagram completely using AI here. And at each stage, I'm just looking and accepting all the changes here. Now, when the app does get to be a certain size, writing over your previous code can become an issue here, so you do have to be vigilant. But if you keep your prompts very specific and your MVP, meaning your minimum viable product, which is effectively what this is, we're creating an MVP here for Instagram, you can actually avoid many of these issues. So we have over 1,200 new characters. So we're once again going to hit accept all. And now we'll navigate back to our page and we'll hit this icon here. And so I can't seem to access it in any way. So let's navigate back and let's see what it says. So there's a photo upload interface, and I'm going to say I need to be able to navigate to it from the menu. I'm just going to put that in because maybe it didn't actually go ahead and put that in. And so it's saying I'll help you add the create post link to the navigation menu. Great. So it's going to go ahead and rewrite our nav bar here. And let's see if it needs to rewrite anything else. Nope. So now I will accept those new changes. We'll go back to here, and now I've hit the plus icon. Really, still nothing's happening. That's disappointing. So at this stage, it can become a bit cumbersome, where you're just talking back and forth with the AI. But keep in mind, this is exactly what vibe coding is. We've now installed our filters here, and we can see that navigating directly to the /create URL allows us to create post. So we can see here that there is the create post button in the navigation menu. But if we actually go here, there's no button that says create post. I mean, I don't see a button that says create post, do you? If we go to home screen or anything like this. So let's give the page a quick refresh here. And now we can see exactly what happened. Our app wasn't updating accordingly. So now that I've actually updated it here, we can see that it's updated the menu to say Instagram clone. And we have a little J icon here because I'm already signed in. We have our home screen, and now we have a plus icon. And if we hit that, we can create a new post. Let me just select a photo here real quick. Okay, so I've selected a photo here. You might recognize it from our ChatGPT 4.0 image generation tutorial. And as we can see here, I can do things like flipping it, and I can, flip it horizontal, or I can rotate it here. But I can also just adjust things. So we could go ahead and adjust the brightness, the contrast here. Let's make it like early Instagram, where like I was in the 6th grade, where we just crank up the contrast, crank up the saturation, and then make it not very blurry, but like make it super bright. So like it's like, yeah, like that. This is very much so what you would see on Instagram in like the early days. And then we could say caption, this is my Insta post. And then we can hit create post here. And now, beautiful, we have that post created. And now we can literally just go step by step, vibe coding things step by step to get a full Instagram clone here. We could just say simply, okay, great. Now build in the rest of the missing functionality. And with an agent actually understanding what it's vibe coding, you can literally just say, okay, great, let's build the rest of the missing functionality. Or great, let's keep going. And you don't have to be specific about what it's doing, and it will just know exactly what the next step is, or it will make the decision for you. So let's say I completely built out Instagram and I said, great, this is done. Now, what's next? It will actually determine what is next and then go build it out here. So in this case, just by me saying, let's build out the rest of the missing functionality, it says, let's start by creating the home page to display posts, then add the profile page, and finally implement the post interaction features, likes and comments. I'm going to go ahead and hit accept all here. And if we navigate back to the page and just hit this, oh, there we go. We can see that my actual post is on here now by John Doe on April 23rd, 2025, which is the day I'm recording this video. And we have, this is my Insta post. And then we have some other ones down here for just an example. And if I go ahead and I actually hit this like button, now we can see that it has 1 like. And I can also go and add a comment here. I could say, great coffee cup. Hit the send here and boom, there we go. Now we have the comment posted. I could go ahead and hit the save button, but I don't have that built in. I could go ahead and hit this 3 dots, but I don't have that built in. If I go back to the home screen here, we can see that now I have the complete version of the basic posting model in, but now I just need to build each feature out. If I actually navigate to the top right-hand corner of my screen and hit profile, we can see here that I've got my Instagram profile. We've got my username, my posts, my followers. It's got my bio here, and we've got the posts that I've actually set up, along with a few placeholders. And if I hit edit profile, well, it's missing. So let's go and do it. And we can say, let's build out all of the profile functionality and just hit enter here. And it's going to go ahead and actually go and make the edit profile and completely build out everything for us. And once it's done that, I'm pretty sure we have the full basic clone of Instagram. In a little under half an hour, we were able to build a complete user interface for Instagram. We were able to build the ability to actually add filters onto photos, which is what Instagram is known for most, and add in basic photo editing. If we wanted to take that a notch up, we could obviously do that. And what we've actually got now is the ability to go ahead and edit the profile and actually see what posts you've done. Like posts, comment posts, everything that Instagram is known for. So we're just going to wait until the profile page is done, hit the accept all button, and then we should have a complete clone of Instagram. Front end only at this point. The difference is that if I wanted to connect a back end, I could, because if we navigate over to the left-hand side here and actually go to specific folders, such as data context, we can see the different back-end actual interfaces here. We have, all this back-end data here. We have all of our actual routes here. So we got add comment, follow user, unfollow. We got everything here related to the backend. All that would actually have to be done is actually connecting it to our real backend. But aside from that, we have essentially a full version of Instagram. I'm going to go ahead and hit that accept all button here. And now once I'm back on the page, I'm just going to refresh here and I'll hit edit profile. And now we can see here that we've got the ability to edit the profile. We could say my name, we could say digit@test.com, and we can say vibe coding all the way. And I can also change my profile photo if I want to. I'll hit save changes here. And now it says user not found. This is obviously because the user that I just created is not found here. But if we navigate back to here, we can see that we've got my default data, and now it says that it's created by me. Look at that, vibe coding all the way. It's a simple bug, but now we've got everything built right in. And if I want to go and add that post, I can do it. If I want to make adjustments to the user interface as one final nice round off for this video, I can definitely do that as well. Let's make the UI look amazing. And I'm going to give it no other prompts than that. I'm literally just going to say, let's make the user interface look amazing and see what we get. At this point, I'm confident in all the functionality of the actual site. We have a complete Instagram MVP in a little under half an hour. And now I'm just going to add some icing on the cake, the cherry on top, if you will, and just make it look amazing. Or should I say, let the AI make it look amazing. Through each step of this process, if I actually wanted to do any of the coding myself, I very well could. I could navigate to this specific component and highlight something and add it to the chat, or right click on it and go to definition, all the typical things that you would have in an IDE. And we can see here that I can literally just chat with my code or edit it as needed. But now that that's all there, we're going to go ahead and hit the accept button. And now let's, drum roll please, navigate back to our Instagram clone and see how that updated interface looks. Gonna go ahead and hit refresh on this, and okay, we have the same kind of interface. It doesn't really look all that different. Pretty much just did it to the profile page. Oh, no, we've got added animations and transitions, improved stats, enhanced buttons. Okay, I mean, there is really so much you could do here. If I navigate to my profile, we can see, oh, okay, no, I definitely see that now. It's definitely done that to the profile page. We've got animations here and an edit profile, and I can see it's added some animations to the buttons. Yeah, it's pretty good. And in effect, we have our Instagram clone here. And there we go. In just under half an hour, I was able to completely code an Instagram clone, or rather should I say vibe code an Instagram clone in Cursor. It just took me half an hour of prompting correctly, talking about the right features, debugging a couple times, and I actually have a full front-end interface for what the MVP of Instagram looked like. With a few more hours of work, I'm sure I could make it look better, have much more functionality such as the save functions or deleting posts, etc., create, read, update, delete, all of those things. But for now, I have the basic version of Instagram that would be ready to launch in the App Store back in 2012. I believe it was 2012. So, with that being said, I can't wait to see what you create, and as always, my name is Josh Mountain. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.